Okay. All right, again, hey, you know what? Thank you again for coming to my very first webinar. Finally, I had enough courage to put one together. But it's really important, especially right now, right? So I hope that you can all see the screen that says ABC, Solving for ABC Issues. That's who we are. My name is Dr. Eleanor Watson. Come on, there we go. And today we are going to be discussing how to demonstrate FAPE during a pandemic. I thought that this would be extraordinarily timely. Hello, Christina. I'm going to put you on mute.
Okay.
Okay. So I felt that this was very timely. My impressions is that this is not going to be the first school closure. Unfortunately, everybody wants their kids into school. They want to go back to work, understandably. But if anything is, I don't, okay, as a professional teacher, I would have to say this. My first year, my second year was just about trying to fight off bugs, right? The cold, the sniffles, and you have a K through 6 environment, and they're all in one spot. Really, you're going to ask them to please keep a distance at 6 feet. It's going to happen again. So if it does, as I tell my friends, prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Okay, so who are we? We basically are ABC for IAP. We are a couple of advocates. We started ABC for IAP about 6-7 years ago now. And we are on a mission to provide affordable access for parents with our flat rates. We are here to educate parents in any way that we can. We're here to listen to your concerns because let's face it, by the time you call me, the district has not been hearing your concerns, and that's why you call. And also to give your child the voice that they need to be represented in their school district, and also with the procedural safeguards entail. Okay, so here's the topics. We're going to go over the current requirements, the current known requirements, at least what CEC, and that's Children Exceptional Counsel, and also the case, and that's for administrators. So this is the best stab I got, but it's so far holding pretty true on every update. So what we're going to be looking at is what the current requirements are. If it I do believe I have a few teachers that may be online right now. How to work smart versus hard, looking at goals and objectives, and how to develop lesson plans. I created this for teachers, and considering that you are now the teachers, I want to show you what the district has to be doing, but also what, if you were a teacher, what is recommended that I would be recommending to you as a teacher, because here I come, right? Because I want to make sure that all of these are in place. So this is what I'm requiring. Okay, so we know this. We know that each teacher should have their own service log, right? On every single different student. So if you are a resource teacher, you may have more logs than, for example, an SDC teacher. But basically, you have to document the attempts to engage with the student and how they responded. So let's take an example of that. I have a student that has multiple impairments, intellectual disabled, no verbal, no anything, very low on the intellectual spectrum. Well, of course, this environment is not going to work. but they can record it saying the student was not active or unable to be active to use this face-to-face, right? The virtual, this virtual world for benefit. So then what is the second thing? Well, the second thing is basically because of that, Mom and I, you and I are going to have a virtual conference. I'm going to show you my techniques. I will still do the lessons, right? And if you have any questions, I'm going to meet with you on virtual reality or this once a week, okay? The tailored instruction document, so basically with all that, they need to show that the instruction was tailored and documented and also shared, not just with you, but the speech and language pathologists and the OT. And they also have a duty to continue progress on IEP goals measured and recorded. I'm now hearing that there's been like 2 months out of compliance and they have not had their annual IEP. I'm like, why? Well, because the school shut down. No, because if general education students are on a virtual distant learning, so are your special education students. Therefore, your procedural safeguards are still active. So this kept on coming up every single time. The district must continue to make good faith effort to work with families and school teams to develop a temporary plan for working with individual students during a pandemic. I know in California, there's a lot of interpretations of what that means, but you need to have some kind of contact with your teachers and your program specialists. And no, I'm not going to do that. We'll just pick it up when we get back to school. I would highly disagree with that. So anyway, like I was saying, this is a video that I would be presenting for teachers. And this is hard for a lot of our teachers, right? When I started the online gig through Zoom, there was a lot of pushback saying, oh no, we don't do that. And I promised everybody that eventually this is going to be the new platform. I didn't think it was going to be because of this. I just thought because, you know, we were going to progress as a society and it made sense. So anyway, if you're new to this, learn about video conferencing. There are so many platforms, Zoom, Google. Pick something that is easy for you to navigate through. And probably your district's already picked a platform. Dedicate 20 to 30 minutes a day into chunks to complete any project. So if you have, like, for example, if you have a caseload, and when I mean a caseload, you have now your daughter, your son, and 2 of your neighbor kids in your house now, and you're about to pull out your hair, this is really going to be important for you. And also don't be scared. We'll mess up and everybody, you know, we'll mess up. Teachers will mess up. You'll mess up. Everybody gets it. With the last presentation, they even talked about there is going to be a known regression of, for math, it was like 50%. And I'm thinking of some of my students, I'm like 50%. That's a couple of grade levels. So, ooh. Hold on. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about working smart versus hard. It's really important what I'm telling teachers is don't recreate the wheel. All you're doing is creating what you've already normally created and then transferring to this environment. So what I want you guys to do is look at your most recent IEP goals based on that, right? Where are they in their academics? Are they first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade? All right. I want you to use like your lesson plans. Now, teachers, if you're actually hearing this, this could be phenomenal for my parents. When you're creating your lesson plans, right? I understand. You're going to give them kind of a sketch copy. This week we're going to read Duck, Duck, Goose, and we're going to learn about the letter D. Understand. but there's certain methodologies that are also connected with your child's and also your students' goals. That's what is missing. So with your using of your lesson plans as you normally set up your regular lesson plans, if you're an SDC teacher, this should not be an issue. If you're an RSP teacher, this should not be an issue. You know how to group. Use your group work activities that the parents, send your group activities to the parents, because those are the ones, right, that are going to support you within your learning. So if I were you, this would be me. I'm teacher Watson, and I have an SDC class of autistic students. Okay, and of course with autism, there's a spectrum. But any special education teacher knows you automatically group kids. You do. General education, you do, right? If you're at home, try to do that. Even if you have multiple kids on multiple IEPs, look at what the goals are. So when we're looking at the goals to develop a lesson plan, some students have similar goals. They do. Based on the student's goals, you're able to develop like a language arts or a reading comp or even a math curriculum through that. Remember when I was saying we as special educators, we chunk, we group on abilities? Same thing, and I'm about to show you. Ooh, sorry that came out so blurry. So here's, okay, this is a sketch, and I apologize, I'll send this out. It was fine just the other day, it's now blurry. This is basically a special education like curriculum map that somebody would use. So if you see right here, let me go and see if I can't get a little spotlight on here. Yes, I can. Yay. Okay, so within the day, we have to concentrate on writing, speaking, listening, language, and of course, mathematics. Guess what? I can put my group right here in reading, speaking, and language arts. I'll show you in a second exactly what I mean. Okay. Here's an IEP that I redacted. What is the area of need? It is listening and reading comprehension. So without all this fluff, what is the basic thing that they're trying to do, right? We'll answer a combination of inferencing questions. Okay, inferencing questions, great, as measured by 80%, 3 to 5 trials by student work samples and charted records. Okay. So if I was, let's say this is Amy's, what am I going to be concentrating on? On listening and reading. Oops. Right here with the language arts. I can also put reading comprehension and also listening. Here's a listening. There's a lot of things I can do with this. Okay, so in that aspect, we're looking at language arts for comprehension. So let's say you have Amy, Billy, and Bob. And they all have the same or very close to the same or similar inferences goals, right? Now, let me customize this for you guys, parents at home. What you can do is if you parents know everybody else, right? Especially within that classroom. See if you can't virtually get together with them and say, hey, why don't we all, I know that, for example, Christina, I'm going to say that your daughter's name is Amy, and Estella, your child's name is Billy, and they have the same difficulty during inferences, right? Can you group them? Well, yeah, but that's also communication. But for the teachers, your lesson plans should have these groupings in them, but you don't need to say who the other two students are. So let's say Christina right now is Amy's mom, like I was saying. Would I also be putting Billy and Bob under that? The answer is no, of course not. I would be redacting their names. Does that make sense? And then guess what? Then Christina knows what the heck she's going to be doing for the week, or at least activities. And that's what the teacher would be displaying to you guys. Okay, we got over that. So here's what I'm talking about. Amy, Billy, and Bob. Here's the week of, let's see, it's 4/22, the week of 4/30. I'm just making this up. And the topic for language arts are inferences. In my little group as an SDC teacher or an RSP teacher, I would be going to Amy, Billy, and Bob, and okay, sweetie, we're going to be reading Little Red Riding Hood for the first 5 pages. We're going to be working on inference worksheets. And remember, this is only 30 minutes. Only 30 minutes, no more. Only 30 minutes. You can play a YouTube video on inferences for the parent and also for the student. So for my parents out there, you can actually YouTube it. Just type it in. Literally, it's all there. And assess. So I would encourage my parents to request a weekly assessment to see where my child is in that area. If they don't know what you're talking about, ask them, how will I know, right, if how far my student has regressed. And of course, hand in to the teacher any work samples that your child has completed at home as well. But make sure before you give it back to the teacher, make a copy of it. If you have a situation where the bus driver is picking your work up and then dropping work off to your home, that's fine. But make sure that you make a copy for your own records and document with that. But just like for here, for Amy, it's the same thing. We're going to be playing YouTube videos. We're going to be doing assessments. We're going to hand in the teacher no later than the assignments, no later by Thursday, so they can have a chance to talk with you on Friday. Guess what? The same for Billy. Okay. So how to document this? If I was speaking, and I am speaking to some of my teachers right now, as well as some of my parents. I would have an external file with all of this documentation, The files should contain your students' work samples, student documentation, your weekly communication, and also your weekly concerns of the parent and how you addressed it. Right? So let's say, Christina, I'm going to pick on you for a second, my dear. Christina has technical difficulties at home. She emails. I don't respond. That's a problem. Then the school is not providing me FAPE. Why? Because the teacher did not respond to my concerns. So it's actually really easy if you just put it in perspective of what the law requires today. Okay, so where everybody is buzzing around, and this is for my teachers and my advanced parents about what FAPE is. We've all heard it, right? A free and appropriate public education. Here's the rub. The word appropriate. That's what it goes to districts, to go to lawyers, go to trials, go to court hearings. And here are the two most important definitions or interpretations, I should say, of appropriateness that there was. Now, back in the 1980s, right here, we're talking about Rowley. Rowley was a girl. She was a deaf girl. She had a cognitive ability that it was in the norm, right? She didn't have any other issues. That's it. She was deaf. She needed an interpreter. The district gave her an interpreter and decided, hey, you know what? She really doesn't need that. She's passing all her classes with A, B, C's, and D's. She's able to communicate by reading lips. And she can also advocate for herself. Okay, that 1982 ruling decided that appropriateness was, hey, what is this child making their goals? And the answer is yes, then, well, then, according to the Rowley standard, then that must have been an appropriate education, right? Hallelujah. In 2017, Andrew came along. And appropriateness, that word again, appropriate, came under fire. So again, here's this autistic student that had behavioral problems. The goals were written low in order for him to achieve them. He also had behavioral issues. Oh, I already said that, excuse me. Parents sued, claiming that the goals were not appropriate. And guess what? The federal court, it got all the way up there until the federal court says, ooh, wait a minute. The educational benefit mandated by IDEA must merely be more than minimus. So it's not that, okay, yeah, he made some gains in this and that's all we have to prove. Because the court said that, why? Because then the goals wouldn't be appropriate anymore. Matter of fact, to meet its substantial obligation under IDEA, a school must offer an IEP that is reasonably calculated to enable the student to make appropriate progress in light of the child's circumstance. Now, if you notice, I really highlighted light of the child's circumstance because guess what? We are face dab right in front of us in light of the child's circumstance. We need to look at what FAPE means right here in light of the circumstance. That doesn't mean that your procedural safeguards go away. Now, there's some assessments that will be delayed, understandable, because a lot of it has to do with observation in the classroom. But what's good for parents at home, guess what? You get to measure all of this right now with the current IEP that your child has. Okay, again, we're going to talk about the in light of the circumstance. So we're going to be continuing to meet timelines. If you did not have an IEP yet, your scheduled IEP, please contact your caseworker. You still need an IEP. If there's a continuing evaluations on the need for service, please write to your program specialist saying, hey, where are we? Do we have enough information? And this is a really good question. Do we have enough information in the child's log, school log, right? Teacher, discipline, whatever it is, to come up with a determination based on my child's needs for fall? Because technically they should have gathered, remember, they should have gathered all of this information well into what? When did we leave? January, February, March, right? So they already have a good, if they kept data, a good breadth of what the child needs and what doesn't need. Don't wait till next year to talk about this. Of course, continued documentation. Your service logs should have documented attempts, right, to engage with the student and how they are responding. And again, if parents don't reach out, that's what they're going to write. It's like, well, I can't, if I'm reaching out and they're not responding and I document it, is that it? Yes, of course. But out of good faith effort, if you have pre-recordings of lessons, you send it to them. Does that make sense? And then you have a log instantly of in your emails. Yes, I'm sorry, I did send it to Sally State on this week and this week and this week and this week. Provide evidence of tailored instruction, documented and shared. What you're looking for as parents is how is this work? How is all of this nonsense? Oh, you can't see it. Sorry. How is all this nonsense connected to my child's goal? That is your question. Because remember in past meetings that we had, it's not so much about negotiate. Part of negotiation is asking the right questions, right? So that is the question to ask. How is this work for this week attached to my child's goal? Okay. And if you haven't gotten the progress on your IEP goals since December, ask about them as well. Or if they don't have it, you can make some recommendations because you've been having your child for the last month. Okay, again, I would recommend creating an electronic file. You're using this website, you might as well, use it completely. Create electronic files for everybody, like I have done with my organization. Every individual has the file, and in each file, they have, for example, certain documentations that they need. So within that electronic file, I'm recommending that, of course, you name it, what your weekly plans are, student work samples that tied into the goal, right? Even if it's a paper, scan that puppy in. Hey, here are the samples. Here's the evidence. Continue to write goals that are more than minimus. Okay, so teachers, I understand that this is new and that parents are getting to, discover what their child's ability and techniques and all that, but please help them out. You know the tricks of the trade. We know tricks of the trade. Please show them. And it could be as easy as trying to get their attention, right? For example, this is very elementary, but here's a tip, like 1, 2, 3, look at me. Ask your teacher how they are asking the classroom to cue back into that person. Now, if they have a severely disabled child, again, then that's on an individual basis. Okay, again, in the communication log, the parents, your DIS services, how are your speech and language doing out there? And of course, addendums, if you need one. It's really important to remember that you still need to agree with the amount of services that are being provided. I've seen district letterhead saying we're only going to provide X amount, and that's it. No, you don't have to automatically agree with that. You have to be reasonable, right? In light of the situation, what is reasonable then on service hours that are going to be conducted in this environment? What does the child truly need? And if the child truly needs your intervention through the parent, then welcome to University 101. You're going to be teaching the parent all those wonderful little techniques. You have to. You have to. Okay. Sorry, my big old thing is in the way here. So make sure that, the parents have a copy of, like I said, of the finished work. If you're going to be scanning it in, you might as well scan it in for yourself and also the parent. Set up a video conference exactly when you're trying to set it up, a follow-up to make sure that the mom is going and the student is going to be there, and then you're live. If they don't show up, well, guess what? You have to put that in. But if they're saying, hey, I'm having trouble logging in, oh, okay, let me help you with that. And guess what? They need to record that as well. This is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. Again, set up weekly lesson plans that are digital lessons. You're going to do it in your small group anyway, right? You might as well have your students try to watch that. And meanwhile, your parents are going to see how you are going to be getting their attention and how you're talking with them. And just imagine if Amy, Billy, and Bob was right in front of you, and Bob had ADHD. How are you going to retain, while you're in a small group, Billy and Bob? That may be a technique that poor Bob's mom wants to learn right about now. Okay. Okay, so here is a great example of what's happening with a true FAPE offer. And this was actually emailed to me, but I changed the names and all that good stuff. So John's school has been having his one-to-one aide call him every day and keep in touch. Wow. Also asking mom if she had any concerns regarding John's behavior and issues while he is at home. Beautiful. Great. Because guess what? John's aide is still in communication with the teacher. Hey, listen, she's really having, for example, mom's experiencing meltdowns with John. How are we going to address this? Oh, okay, let's get the behaviorist in here and let's first find out what exactly is happening. Those are the things that you need to start doing. John's teacher has been providing homework, lesson plans, very good, and personal YouTube videos for the entire week. Yes, that is how you do it. John has really enjoyed seeing his teacher online. Teacher expects homework to be turned in according to each student's disability. If John can only do 1 to 2 pages of worksheet a day, that's okay. I would still then go back and ask, okay, John's teacher, how is this connected to my son's goals? But that's me being extraordinarily picky. As long as he keeps trying to improve on his skill, i.e. writing his name. Okay, so if he has a goal of writing his name and 1 to 2 pages a week, and that's the practice he has to do, is that appropriate? Yep, it sure is. I would also ask the OT for this particular student, can you teach me, and do you have anything at home that I can use as a pencil grip or an alternative writing, right? Because they have that at school, you don't have it at home. His homework is based on the last IEP goals. Perfect. So see, that already shut me down. John has also been working on life schools and APE activity. All right, so ladies, I'm going to unmic you. I hope that you did not fall asleep.
We don't.
Okay, so here's your activity, ladies. This example, right? And I'll switch it back. What is John receiving a free and appropriate public education in light of today's circumstance, right? And has the district shown a good faith effort? Why or why not? And here's that story again, just in case. So what do you guys think? Do you think that the district is providing an appropriate placement for him? An appropriate?
Mm-hmm.
I would say yes, no, overwhelmed.
No.
You don't think that are you overwhelmed? Are you saying you're overwhelmed? Not overwhelmed?
No.
Do you think that the district?
No overwhelmed. It's very educating. I love it.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it seems like you talking about my son issues.
Actually, it wasn't your son. It wasn't your son at all. All right, so again, these are the opportunity for questions. If you are live on Facebook, I'm so sorry. I'm still trying to figure all this out. I got it to work one time and I didn't have a chance to see it. So I'm going to stop sharing on this end, but we're still live on Facebook on this end. So if you are still live with us, go ahead and write down your questions and I'll just reply that way. So Christina, do you have any questions for me at this time? Anything?
should we be receiving some kind of training then from the teachers?
Absolutely. I would actually ask, make sure that you email what you need. So for example, if it's a behavioral issue, if it's a writing issue, if it's a reading issue, make sure that you start documenting what the needs are and that you're having trouble doing that activity.
Mhm.
Does that make sense, Christina?
Well, I was thinking like more for us a training how to be able to have the kids be able to complete their assignments on time, like in a school setting. It will be more like a training for us to role play the teachers at
Oh,
home. That was my question.
actually, that's a really good question. I couldn't see why not. That could be part of uh, your weekly conversations with the teacher, for sure. But you have to ask for it. It's not going to be coming to you automatically, because remember, everybody is new to this platform. They're trying to figure all this out. But any suggestions, especially if you feel that your children are slipping, that's going to be really important. So definitely email me, email them, CC me.
Okay.
Estela,
Yes.
questions, my dear?
Yes, I have to share. Then the school they started contact me regarding about my son behavior training program for me. So I'm happy with that because I received an email about it. So I like that they can help me a little bit in case Carlos, the issues with the water, especially right now, what's really happened right now. Then I shared with you before the water situation, the bathroom situation. So they're gonna help me on that. But my question is that, and how that I can talk to them about the 6 feet social distance with that one-on-one when a school starts. How do we can,
There is
how is
no, there is no way.
right? Yes.
No, not no, and that's the damage of all this, and that's why I'm hesitant to be excited about kids going back to school, because I'm sorry, I don't see any
Yes.
child saying, oh yeah, I remember getting 6 feet away, when I haven't seen that person by the time that school starts again for half of a year.
Mhm,
I mean,
mhm.
teenagers, are you kidding?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Special, I'm sorry, some of them they really can still need it sometimes hand over hand, or they need a directing, and sometimes they need to remind them by tapping shoulders or something. So that's unfortunately where we are. But I mean, so I'm not sure about how those things gonna
So I
be
would
in that.
I would actually ask the behaviorist,
Yes.
if there's any, um, if the teacher or him can create basically a positive reinforcement how to with your child that's custom made.
Okay.
I would ask for that, because in your particular situation, I don't know if he's going to start in August.
Yes, I believe that it's not going to be the case, and unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
because all right, thank you so much for your answer.
Sure, no problem. And just remember, I'm not advocating to go to school or not go to school. Of course, if we can get our lives back to halfway normal, we'd be, jumping up and down, hooray. But I'm not naive to the situation either. There'll be a decrease in the summer because everybody's outside, it's hot, right? And they're still going to be keeping their social distancing, so it's going to automatically go down. when is cold and flu season normally at schools? It starts September, October, November, December, January.
Again.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying that if, for example, I had COVID-19, I wouldn't know until like about 3 to 4 weeks later.
Yes.
And that's teachers also. I mean, they try, I get it. But
How? It's
yeah, so I like I said, I'm not discouraging it. I'm not encouraging it. If you know me, you'll know these next words come from my heart. Please listen to your mommy gut. I'm not there. I'm not there. I'm using my advocate gut right now, right?
correct.
But use your mommy gut. Talk with your family. Look at, you know, if there is a way to have, I don't know at you know, at this point, because even in an SDC room, 12 kids,
Mhm.
they're not any 6 feet apart.
Yes. Yes. And yeah, and also, you know, when they go to lunch, it's 1,000 kids there. So how are they gonna do that? I mean, it's a lot of concerns, but I'm glad that I have what you share right now. It's really, really, really good for me, because even if Carlos, I mean, my son's gonna stay here at home for a while, I mean, I can really do a lot for him as well. So I'm happy with that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. So, you know, one step at a time, guys. Jen and I decided that we're going to start our advocacy series, and
Mhm.
we're just going to put them online for free for a short time. So I'll be sending everybody that link, and if you want to jump
Mhm.
on it, they're only going to be free for a real limited time. Like, woo!
All right.
Really
Okay.
limited.
Thank you so much.
All
All
right,
right.
guys, thank you so much. And that's all for us. If you have
Thank you.
any,
That's a lot. That's a lot. Thank you. Thank you so much.
if
We
you guys
really
have,
appreciate
sorry,
Thank you.
if, no problem, guys. If you
it's
guys have
fine.
any
Thank you.
questions on Facebook, please write them down. I will get to them, and we will be having another series. Who knows? Maybe we'll talk about behavior. All right. Talk
All
to you later,
right.
guys.
Thank you,
Bye.
Dr. Watson. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.